India Inc. Joining us on this broadcast is Kiran Majumdar-Shaw, Executive Chairperson and founder of Biocon Limited. Niranjan Hiranandani, Managing Director of Hiranandani Group, is here as well. Let me begin by asking you, Ms. Shaw, how would you rate the budget? What are the pluses and minuses for you?
Personally, I believe that as a standalone national budget, it's a very good budget. I think it's a budget that basically is both reassuring and has touched upon the very tenets of what we want to do, which is inclusive economic development. And it's been done in a very thoughtful manner. Because what really the finance minister has focused on is consumption, investment, innovation and employment. And the way the budget has been structured is to look at aspects of each one of these four pillars in terms of what we need to do. So I personally believe it's a very good budget, but I think in context of, the geopolitics and geoeconomics of our time, we do also need to read it in conjunction with regulatory reforms, which is what the finance minister talked about. Because ease of doing business is linked to making sure that all that you talked about in the budget is deployed efficiently.
Right.
And if the ease of doing that is not is not good, then obviously you will fall short of the objectives of the budget. So to me, the regulatory reforms that the finance minister talked about are going to be very key to making sure that the objectives of the budget are met. And in order to do that, I think the committee that is being constituted must have members from India Inc. Because India Inc. is the one that is being regulated. India Inc. knows the pain points. And we need to make sure we remove those pain points. Because as long as bureaucrats look at it through a very different lens, we will not make much progress.
Mr. Hiranandani, do you believe that this budget does tick all the right boxes? Is there something that could have been done, perhaps was not so much high on the radar for the finance minister?
Dil mange more. We always have higher expectations than what the finance minister can possibly give us. But I think several sectors have seen a positive role. The first positive role has been in terms of the middle class. I think that was an augur for the polity, and it was an augur of reality where they were actually in need of more surpluses to be created. In the last 6 to 12 months, we have seen a fall in terms of retail sales, in terms of various sectors of the economy. And I think this saving part of it to the middle class is going to be a boom, because they will then be able to be a part of the purchasing power. The sector has grown tremendously, so I think there's a positive turn.
Okay.
On the real estate sector, we see a couple of things that have been done. One is the Swami Fund. The Swami Fund 1 with 10,000 crores contributed by the central government. This time they've talked about 15,000 crores to be contributed. But my feeling is that that's not going to be enough. I'm not talking about the contribution, but I think we need to set up several funds. And many of these funds, our last in, first out fund, may not require funds from the central government, but an enabling provision under which more housings could be completed. So I think it's a good thing, but we need a little more as far as that is concerned. On the factor of overall investment, I think the finance minister could have done a bit more, in the sense that she has met the fiscal target of 4.2%. But I think looking at the fact that 2024 investment was less due to the elections that took place both in the center and at the states in Maharashtra also. I think the investment took place late. I think we needed to actually increase that figure that we are talking about in terms of growth sector. The main thing which I am very happy about is the focus on skill development, and especially in the real estate sector. Today's date, I would say we are the second largest employer in the market after agriculture in the country. and we employ about 71 million workers.
Correct.
Of which, unfortunately, only 13 million are skilled. So when we actually need more than 23, 24 million workers. And if you're looking at the Prime Minister's target of 2030, with the investment portion going up, we'll need 100 million workers in the real estate and infrastructure sector, of which
So job
more
creation is
than
extremely important as
33
far as the
million
real
have
estate
to
sector
be
goes.
skill development.
Right.
So we
But
are
Mr.
dire
Hiranandani, I want to ask you
short
this.
of.
But I want to ask you this, that we're talking about the real estate sector, we're talking about job creation as well. What do you think the finance minister could have done more? Where do you think she had more elbow room to wriggle in that she should have, but perhaps didn't for better wisdom of hers?
And unemployment in. I think let's look at two or three things. One is the question of rental housing. See, most of the time they've been giving a focus only on purchase of houses. I think we needed a focus on rental housing. Last year in the budget, the finance minister had done a focus on industrial workers, where she had given a benefit for those who are investing in the industrial workers' housing. I think I was expecting that now would be covered in rest of it. Let's say you as a journalist shift from one city to the other. You can't buy a house again in the next second city. You need to get into a rental house. So I think a lot of focus needs to be done in that segment, and that is still remaining. Another important point is the pressure that we now need to put upon reduction of interest rates, because affordable housing in the last 1 year has seen a downturn, probably the first in my whole career of 40 plus years. I'm seeing a reduction in affordable housing quantum. And this has never happened before. So this is partly due to interest rate being high, and the other cost of business which is there, the ready reckoner rate, the other stamp duty rates, and others which are at the state level. So a comprehensive thought process on how to make houses more easily available and also more affordable, I think needs to be focused on. And also this will, sort out most of the unemployment issues in India.
Now we're talking about skilling, so I want to get in Kiran Majumdar-Shaw as well. You know, several decisions, several allocations, announcements have come to the fore in this budget for research and innovation. That was something on your wish list as well, I believe? You think they've done a good job?
It was absolutely on my wish list, because I kept saying that, we need to see research-linked incentives, and I think the fact that a 20,000 crore outlay for private sector research and innovation was laid out, I would like to see the fine print, because I really need to see how it's going to be deployed. Because, it's always important to make sure that what you announce as a very important, outlay is deployed very efficiently. So there should not be ambiguity in how you want to deploy this 20,000 crores. Have they thought about which sector, what, how do you avail of this fund, things like that. So I really would like to see the fine print.
And the devil lies in the details, and that's something that will come out. But I want to ask you this, the economic survey warned about this as well, the entry of artificial intelligence. It could be an opportunity for India. It could also prove to be detrimental in the sense that there would be labor displacement, and those fears can't be ruled out, said the chief economic advisor. Do you think that the finance minister has addressed those concerns to an extent, or at least helped India make that foray into the AI race?
So I think the finance minister spoke very strongly about skill development, and AI is really about making sure that we upskill our workforce. AI is a big boon to an economy like India, but you will also need people who can manage AI, who can generate AI, and who can use AI intelligently. So AI is not just something that will just displace jobs at the stroke of your hand. It's going to mean that you will need a skilled workforce that can use AI
Correct.
for the benefit of improving their efficiency, getting to be more agile, getting to be more competitive. I think AI is a very good tool if you can really skill your workforce to manage and understand the use of AI.
Niranjan Hiranandani, I want to get in your view as well as far as artificial intelligence is concerned. We just had a few days ago DeepSeek and all the buzz around it worldwide. The market's taking a hit as well right after the launch of that. Do you think that that is something that India can maneuver around? We have that sort of space. Is that something that the government is thinking of? How do you look at it?
I think extremely important question that you've asked. I think the future of India comprises of on agriculture, comprises of manufacturing, services sector, housing and infrastructure, education, and all the other sectors which actually go to make each of these sectors successful. I think a broad spectrum approach has been taken this time, wherein individual details of various sectors have taken place. But we need to focus on some of them to make it into an exponential target, not an incremental target. So I think that is the issue that we really need to do. And on the skilling side, we need to do much more because we need to actually send more people, even overseas, for skilling and become the skilling capital of the world. So many of the sectors we need to have workers, we need to have doctors, nurses, skilled people, and we could actually have people going all over the world in order to actually serve the people. And I think it's a positive story when the demographics are in our favor.
We've spoken of the positives, but Kiran Majumdar-Shaw, I also want to ask you, what do you think should have been one of the focus areas but really wasn't this time around? What is it that the finance minister should have perhaps given more thought to? Anything, any sector that comes to your mind?
If you look at this time's budget, they've actually covered everything. So I would say that they've done a very good job covering everything. But now what remains to be seen is how do we deliver on every one of these, right? Because if you look at, MSMEs, there is something in it for them. If you look at middle class, there's something in it for them. If you look at innovation, certainly there's something in it for everyone. If you look at manufacturing, it's there. Agri-tech, it's there. So I think they've covered everything. I don't think they've really missed out on anything.
Mr. Hiranandani, these missions that the government has spoken of or wants to get in, there's an allocation of 1 lakh crore for Urban Challenge Fund as well. Do you think that gives confidence to the real estate sector, to homeowners or probable homeowners?
Of course it does. We all want to make a very successful thing. Look at the situation in Mumbai. 50% of the people live in jhopatpattis, in slums. And by a proper scheme and allocation, we will be able to completely eliminate all the slums in Mumbai in the next 5-7 years. We have the resources, we have the capital, we just need to focus on it and maybe do some initial allocation of 25,000 crores to start with, and we will create a surpluses of anything between 50,000 and 1 lakh crores in 5-7 years. So I think in many of these cases, we will not only make a successful clearance of the entire slums of Mumbai or other places and still make profit out of those schemes. Initiation has been made in the case of Adani's with the Dharavi scheme, but that's the beginning and we need to do much more.
Kiran Majumdar-Shaw, globally speaking, as far as India's economy is concerned, do you think enough has been done in this budget to keep that growth on track? As far as growing economy is concerned, India remains to be the fastest. But do you feel that more should have been done to keep that trajectory or help that trajectory get there faster?
See, it's not. I think, the corporate sector is really looking at what's happening out there. There is a global economic slowdown. There is a strong geopolitical and geo-economical kind of dynamics that's playing out there, which is really looking at localization, that is looking at, certain coveted supply chains. How do we become part of that supply chain? How do we make sure that we are not shut out of markets? I think that's what we really need to look at. And I'm sure the government is very keenly observing all that. And that's where I think we have to make sure that we are positioning ourselves in a strong way, because that's where I think we need to make sure that we are doing enough in terms of incentivizing growth and scale to still be a very dominant player in the global economy.
I have to leave it there. I thank you, Kiran Majumdar-Shaw and Niranjan Hiranandani, for joining us here on our non-stop coverage on Budget 2025. With that, it's a wrap from my side.